What is happening, guys? Welcome back to another episode of Comic Book Weekly. We have a full cast for the first time in absolutely like 6 weeks or something like that. I was out for
Been
like
a
a
long time.
month. And then I think Brant was out, Kat was out. Like it was just ongoing. But we're here, guys. We're finally here. We have the whole cast. Hopefully we'll provide a solid show for you. I'm in a different location today. I'm actually in my wife's office because it's too damn hot to do a live stream in my garage. So I am here. And of course, next to me have Brant Fowler.
What's up, everybody?
And of course, I have Kat Comic Uno.
Yeah, I'm the reason we're late this time. Usually it's always someone different, but this time it was me. Yeah, no, I will admit, it usually is Brant.
So we're going to, of course, take your questions, comments live, all that great stuff. We're going to talk about the news. We're going to talk about the comic books this week. So what we're going to do is we're going to start with the news this week because there's really not that much news going on right now. And then we'll dive into the comic books. This way it gives some time for the viewers on here to jump on the show. So Kat, go ahead and take it away. Let's get started.
Yes, let's start talking about the non-news this week. There's only one comic news piece, and that is that X-Men 2099 is going to be characters within the Spider-Man universe, and they kind of announce who those characters are going to be. I believe the only one reading that series right now is Brant. So, Brant?
Yeah, I love X-Men 2099. That was like the one that I really got into back in the day. So I'm excited to see some of those characters back. I know it's going to be a mix of new and old. And so I think the designs looked pretty cool. I am enjoying that series, so we'll see how they handle the X-Men in that universe.
I'm looking at it now, and like I must have missed this article, but I see North Star on here. The dude is like huge, right? And then you have Cyclops, which totally looks different, right? So you got that.
Yeah.
And then you got this cover on here that looks pretty interesting too. So I don't know, man.
Let me see if I can actually pull it up. Let's see.
There you go. There you go. Cool. That's North Star. Yep.
There's Cyclops.
Yep.
Yeah, the art looks interesting. I still don't think I'll pick it up, but it looks interesting, the art.
Yeah, this I think his name is Bloodhawk. He was in the original X-Men 2099. So
how about the returning flaming lady with the sword? Any idea who she is?
I don't know. Yeah, I don't remember. I don't remember all the characters. I know there used to be a speedster called Mean Streak, but I don't see him.
That's interesting.
They look cool.
That one guy looks like Zangief from Street Fighter 2.
Yeah, he does.
Yeah, right. And then you got like, I guess that's a Professor X, but like female.
Yeah. Did it list their names in the article?
Let me see. Yeah, you probably actually have a better handling of that now. Yeah, the article.
Yeah, let's see. There's Cerebra, which is probably the Professor X girl. Crystalline, Bloodhawk, and then the new Cyclops, North Star, Phoenix. It's a version of the Phoenix. And Kid Cable was the dude with the white hair, I'm assuming, the little white streak.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah,
So I've read these issues with the Spider-Man Exodus, and it's not very good.
I am enjoying it. It's not the greatest thing I've ever read. Yeah, I do enjoy it, but I get why you would feel that way though. So.
The latest issue, dude, I totally forgot what the latest issue was. Like, I totally forgot what it was.
Yeah, I don't remember what that latest issue was either.
See, that
it never makes my top 5 or anything. It's not like that.
But, he was talking to something that was a character that just showed up. We had Winter Soldier. Oh, Loki. It was the Loki issue.
Oh, yeah, the Loki issue. I thought that was a good issue. I enjoyed that. Yeah. I I liked the flashback of the original Loki more than like the new Loki. But yeah.
Because wasn't Valkyrie in there, and she had that hand, that arm, her arm got chopped off and stuff like that.
Yeah, but it was like a fake Valkyrie. It was like those manufactured heroes that that company made, and so she was one of those.
Yeah, I'm sticking with it.
It's interesting.
I was looking more like Spider-Man 2099 than all these other characters.
It never feels like they stick with Spider-Man when they do those.
Yeah, I think the main reason I'm enjoying this is because it's the best version of 2099 Spider-Man that we've gotten in a very, very long time, even if it's not the greatest comic out there. You know what I mean?
Right, so. Yeah, exactly.
We do have a couple of comments and questions, mostly from Mike Manhattan. Thoughts on the Ezra Miller situation? I mean, I don't know if you can have coherent thoughts about that one because it's developing every day. It's nothing good. So yeah, I don't know. It's just too much there going on.
My only thought is that dude makes some odd decisions. That's all I'm gonna say.
He makes a lot of odd decisions for sure.
Decisions,
yeah, and every day there's something new. There's something new with him. He's always on the move. Let's say that. Mike Manhattan also asks, Paper Girls is coming out in July. Are you excited? I'm very excited for Paper Girls. I'm very interested to watch it. Yeah, I'm excited.
Yeah, I am too, man. I mean, that will be a very interesting series to watch. And I haven't read the comic book series in a long time.
Yeah,
so
like since it came out.
Seeing it on screen will definitely be new for me, you know?
Yeah. I'm going to be really curious to see how they handle some of the stuff in there, especially like with all the connection to Apple in the comic. And
that's true.
What do they have permission to do? Like, you know, all that
they
stuff.
Use Amazon, maybe. They use like Alexa instead of Apple.
Yeah. or like what Nickelodeon used to do, like pair phones.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
They'll steal that. Yeah, no, I'm very interested because that was such a big part of the series. So that'll be interesting to see. All right. Another thing that's going on is that the Harley Quinn trailer came out. I know I'm the only one that watches it, but damn, this is the best show on television. Every single time I was complaining about Young Justice, me and my business partner Phil were like, man, why is Harley Quinn not going on right now? We love Harley. And honestly, the trailer looks awesome. It looks like they're doing a lot with their romance, some good comedy, some good action, some good references to DC. They kidnap Amanda Waller. It just looks bombastic and awesome, and I'm very excited.
That's cool.
Go watch Harley Quinn.
I mean, I don't have access to HBO Max anymore, so I've had so many problems. Like I couldn't watch Suicide Squad, and then I forgot my password, and now I lost it all completely. And I'm not spending any more money on streaming services. I got too much as it is now.
That is understandable. For sure. Maybe Sci-Fi still has it or something.
Who?
Am I the one going slow or is Brant, are you going slow or am I going slow right now? Because Brant's going slow on my side.
Brant's a little slow.
Yeah, it's me. It's storming here, so it might go in and out.
Oh, okay.
Okay, just want to make sure I didn't have to reboot. Yeah, it's a good show. Recommended if you have HBO Max. Moving on to Emma Roberts and Madam Web. Honestly, this cast is kind of interesting. I don't know what this movie's gonna be, but you got Emma Roberts, and then you got Dakota Johnson, and then you also have Sweeney, who was in Euphoria. And I'm like, man, it's kind of an interesting cast. I'm honestly maybe looking forward to this movie.
But what could it didn't say who she plays as.
No, it didn't say who Sydney Sweeney's playing as either. So it's got me really curious. Like, are they going for a whole Spider Girl theme here? Like, are we going to have all of them?
They're all young. They're all like young actresses. And you know, Dakota's a little older, but
right.
I definitely think you got something going there. I think this could be all like different lives of or different time periods of Julia Carpenter, you know?
That's possible too.
It could be her time as Spider-Woman, then it could be leading into her time as Madam Web. So it could be all different time periods. Who knows? Maybe it could even lead to old Madam Web or something like that. I don't even know, but
who's gonna play that?
Yeah.
That'll be very interesting.
Diane
Who played Aunt May in the Andrew Garfield movies? What's her name?
Sally Field.
Sally Field should be Madam Web. That's my call.
That would be interesting. Tevia says, "Who cares about a Madam Web movie? I care. I want to watch it.
I care about this cast. I think like you can make anything a good movie. You know, you can make things interesting. So I mean, there's a Barbie movie that looks amazing. So don't cancel out Madam Web just yet. Barbie looks great, guys. I'm so excited for Barbie. There's not a movie I'm more excited for than Barbie."
Yeah. Twitch says it's a Sony movie. It's going to be a raging dumpster fire. It might. I don't know, but
Venom.
Venom was fun. It was a fun movie.
Yeah,
Morbius wasn't fun.
No, Morbius. I'm glad I have not seen. It's not morbing time, whatever they've been calling it on Twitter. But yeah, no, we'll see where it goes. It's interesting news, interesting people. Next up is Hotell is getting a movie from AWA, which is not a surprise because AWA, that they have a lot of people from Hollywood that's working within them. So, and they also have announced other movies in the past. I'm not surprised by that.
Oh yeah, I mean, listen, we had our discussions when it's come to this Hotell book, and we had weird things going on. It'll be super interesting to see how they adapt that to the screen. I mean, are they going to really have like crazy baby trolls sucking on a woman's breast or something like that? Because that's what happened in the first issue or something. But the concept was very interesting, as all these four rooms like connected with each other. And they were part of a bigger plot when you read the whole entire run there. And then they recently came out with a Hotell 2, which unfortunately I didn't read. I missed out on the first two issues, and then I couldn't get them back in through the shop. I know they have the trade in it, but I haven't seen it since. But I am very curious how this will be in the theaters. But if done right, I think it could be a really well done movie.
Yeah, Tevia asks, who is AWA? It's an independent company ran by Axel Alonso, who was the previous Marvel editor-in-chief. So it's an indie company. But a lot of Marvel people are in it. Like a lot of creators you might notice have a lot of indie titles there.
Mm-hmm.
All right, well, let's move on to the next thing, our last news piece, which is Marvel returns to San Diego, which honestly is good news. I'm going to San Diego this year, as I always do. I'm going for work, and I'll actually be on two panels. I think I could say that. I'm going to be on in one of the panels where Marvel and DC does their comic panels. So that's going to be cool. I'm going to be on a Kickstarter panel with Jimmy Palmiotti. I'm going to be on a YouTube panel, but yeah, what I think is cool is that, San Diego's been gone for so long. And I was a little worried that, there's the hype has died down. But if you bring Marvel back in the game, I feel like a lot more other players are going to come. So that got me excited.
I think DC, though, is not going to be there, right?
I didn't hear a no or a yes. I just know that Marvel announced they said they were. I didn't hear DC wasn't.
I don't
but
know
they have
where
fandom.
Right. I don't know where I heard it from, Kat. I just thought I remembered
look it up.
that they're not going to be there. And I heard the Marvel thing was obviously going to be here because you put it in the drive.
Warner Brothers Discovery announces plans for San Diego. So they do have, let's see what's going to be there. A lot of their TV shows. So maybe they won't have the movie stuff, which honestly, I think is a smart move on them because they got a lot of figuring out to do because of what's going on with Ezra Miller. So yeah, I'm not surprised by that. But it seems like DC is doing stuff, just not the movies.
Gotcha. Okay. I mean, God, it'd be interesting if you just had Marvel there and then no DC at all, So, but I'm curious to see what Marvel is going to announce. I think that's a big deal,
Yeah, they used to announce.
They said it's gonna be a big
stuff.
announcement too.
Yeah.
Remember when San Diego came out, and then you had Batman, Superman was announced, and everyone was watching the trailers. Dude, that was some big stuff back then.
And it seems like they're going to do the same. I mean, you think about Natalie Portman, who had literally announced that she was going to be Thor there, and that's such an iconic moment. We're going to say, Brent.
No, I was just going to say basically what you two both just said about these big announcements about their movies and stuff and all that. So sorry for the delay, everyone.
No, it's okay. I want to make sure you got your thoughts out there, though. Yeah, no, I'm excited. Again, it's been a while since I've been there, and especially because I'm going. It's been a while since I've done press because I've been just doing all my comic stuff. So this time around, because you had to apply for an artist alley table 3 years ago because they still have the same people. So I was like, well, whatever. I'll just go as press, and I'm going with Reed Pop. So it's been a while since I've done that. So I'm excited to do that for them, and just because it's going to be. It's been a long time. It's been a minute. All right, let's get into going to promote our Kickstarters because we actually finished all the news. So, Brant, why don't you talk about your Kickstarter first?
Yeah, I'm not going to screen share it because I'm afraid my internet will just completely crash.
I can screen share for you. I'll do it for you.
Okay, appreciate it. All right, so we got Curiouser. We're all mad here. Issue number 1 is funding on Kickstarter. We got a week to go. It actually ends next Tuesday night. So into those final 7 days, we are well overfunded. We were going to announce stretch goals today, but time ran out on us, so we'll announce those tomorrow. But we're doing pretty well, as you can see on there, almost inching up towards 11,000.
Yeah,
and it's a Back to Wonderland story where Alice's son Alec is pulled into Wonderland in the midst of a brewing civil war with a mysterious foe. So the residents of Wonderland have to band together to thwart this hostile takeover of Wonderland. So it's if you're into Alice in Wonderland or fantasy comics in general, even a little humor, because that's kind of our trademark, a little action comedy, all the stuff is in the book. So plus we have beautiful art, so go check it out, CuriouserComic.com, live through next Tuesday.
Yes. Also, we have Buy Visibility still Buy Live. It's a sequel. Not really a sequel because you can read it without reading the first one because they're all just short stories. But it's about bisexuality, but it's all from different genres. So you have sci-fi, you have vampires, you have superheroes, you have reality television. So if you like The Bachelor, you'll enjoy my story. But we have a lot of cool creators. We got Lisa Sterl, Chris Peterson, Kendall Good. Super proud of this one. We just launched a week ago. And we're already almost at 13,000, but our goal is 25K. We need to get there by 22 days. Hopefully guys could support. Every dollar helps, and you get a lot of free comics even for just $1. So definitely go check that one out, and we'll share our links in the comments. So we are also getting into the comics this week, which I only had 8, so there wasn't as many from me.
You had 8? I had like 20.
I had 20 books. Like 19.
Yeah, it was.
You gotta dwindle down. You gotta get the good ones.
I still didn't read them all. I just don't have time right now to read when I have that many books. I think I have like 5 or 6 left or something like that. Also, I wanted to show you guys. You never saw Cookie before.
No.
Oh.
Here's the famous
Cookie. The corgi. Yes.
Look, Cook.
Hi, Cookie.
My little corgi. You say hi?
Good dog.
Cutie.
He's just chilling right there. Yeah.
I'm glad that they're enjoying the show.
She's like
enjoying that comic talk.
Smelling the mic.
It's like, I'm never here. I have the opportunity to be on the show.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm a star.
Yeah, right? Good job, Cook. All right. So we're going to get into the comics this week. And just to let you guys know, a reminder, there is a spoilers. If you don't want to see your books being spoiled, we do talk about them. So you can just, plug your ears for a little while or whatever the case may be. A lot of books, at least for Brant and myself, but Kat said she only read 8.
I only read the 8.
So it'll be interesting to see what you did read and didn't read, because I thought there was a lot of stuff to read this week.
I'm excited to see what I didn't read either, because I want to know what I missed, if I missed anything. But I don't think I did. I'm ready. We'll see where your top 5 is, but I don't think I missed anything.
All right. Well, let's talk about the first book. So the first one we have is Black Adam issue 1.
What a disappointment.
Okay, so when it came to Black Adam, it was very boring. And then And then I got to the end, and then I was kind of intrigued because this kid is obviously going to take over as Black Adam. But I feel like that this comic has no weight behind it because this takes place before the Dark Crisis event. And obviously Black Adam's still around, right? So what's really the point of this book?
Yeah, no, I don't know much about Black Adam besides of what we've seen from like Shazam and the recent like 10 years. I don't know much about the character. So this really felt so heavy on like you need to know Black Adam to understand this. And then you get the new reader friendly aspect at the end of the issue, which is spoiler alert. There's another Black Adam. But I just didn't care because this is the same creator that did Deathstroke, and I really liked that run because I knew a lot about Deathstroke. So I felt it. I was like, oh, I know these characters. Didn't feel the same way for this one.
I guess I enjoyed it a little bit more than both of you. I mean, I don't know. I really like Black Adam as a character. I also don't know a whole lot about him, but I knew enough to know why things were happening the way they were. I know enough about Kandak and all that stuff. I thought it was an interesting direction to go, but I agree with you, Mike, where as we know he's still in the Justice League and dealing with all that after this, it's like, well, how is him dying or his arm dying or him, all this stuff, what does that matter if we know where it goes from here? Because then that feels like this story isn't as important unless they're going to do something after Dark Crisis where he is no longer Black Adam, which would be weird, especially with the big movie coming out.
Right.
So I don't know. There were some problems with it, but I enjoyed the way it was written, and I enjoyed the Malik character. I thought he was an interesting character.
I mean, I'm going to continue to read it because, again, the ending, I was intrigued by it, and I want to see kind of where the story does continue to go. I just felt like, again, it just didn't have any weight because I feel like, okay, well, I'm going to read 5 more issues of this, but Black Adam's still going to be around when Dark Crisis is going on,
Right.
So
yeah,
I don't know, but we'll see. All right. So I have a question here with Cookie, and it says, Mike, does Cook have any interest in comics that you noticed? And I can tell you that if I put a comic on the floor, she would eat it. That's her interest. She would tear it up. She loves dryer sheets, napkins, paper towels. I think that kind of falls in the same category. So I'm pretty sure she would eat a comic book.
Yeah.
The other questions we got here from Gus, when is San Diego? July, end of July, like July 20 something. And then the other question was, isn't Black Adam going to be played by The Rock? Yeah, this is why the movie's happening. I mean, the comic is happening because there is a movie. Which I'm more excited for the movie than the comic because it's The Rock. But also, The Rock is going to be in the end of July, going to be in the new DC Super Pets movie, which I'm like, looks cute. I got the AMC's. I got that stuff. So I'll go check it out.
Yeah.
I want to just go see Buzz Lightyear. I think I like Buzz Lightyear, but I'm hoping this is better than Buzz Lightyear, even though I really liked it. I want this to be amazing. I want it to be the best DC movie of the year is the Super Pets movie. I want it to be better than Black Adam. That's just me.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, that's how I feel.
We'll see. We'll see how both of them are.
Jurassic Park this weekend.
I'm sorry.
You saw what?
I saw Jurassic Park.
Did you see Top Gun? Because Top Gun saw this weekend was really, really good.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed Top Gun.
I didn't mind Jurassic Park. I
heard horrible things.
I didn't mind it. I think that they did some good things in it, and then there was some like really unbelievable things. But when you have a movie that is about dinosaurs that live with man, come on. I mean, you can expect some things that are going to be unbelievable to begin with. So, but if I was expecting one thing and it was something that was completely different, I could say that. But I felt that it was closed okay, and I was fine with it. Was it the best movie I ever saw? No, absolutely not. But it was entertaining and it was suspenseful, just like how every other Jurassic Park movie is.
Yeah, I love the Jurassic Park movies, but I could see them getting to the point where they're about to jump the shark like really big, if they
Yeah.
keep going with it.
Well, yeah,
Uh,
I was kind of like, this movie was a stretch,
yeah,
and it really didn't need to be created.
gotcha.
Yeah.
Lisa and I just, since we're talking movies we recently watched, we finally got to see Doctor Strange. So
Oh, what'd
Oh,
you
we,
think?
also, I'm sorry,
yeah,
but let's hear.
What? I can't
it's
believe
yeah.
you.
I didn't
So
love it.
we enjoyed Doctor Strange, but we were underwhelmed by the way it ended. So I
I hated
enjoyed like
Scarlet
the
Witch in it.
I hated that they made her a villain. Yes, I hated that, and because I love the character and I loved her TV
Right.
show, and I wanted more for her. And going forward, who knows what we're going to get with her? But yeah, I was disappointed by that. But the visual aspects of the movie, I really enjoyed. I thought that they were really well done. But I was so underwhelmed by the way it ended that it disappointed me
Hmm.
overall. So
Right.
yeah,
I
What did you
hope Thor
think
is
of
better. I have the
yeah.
tickets for Thor, so I'm excited for that.
what did you think of the horror aspect of the show?
Yeah, that was weird. I wasn't expecting it to be a horror movie.
It was horror.
Yeah, it was like halfway through, I was like, Lisa, I think this is a horror movie. This is different. This is not what I expected this to be. And we were both like talking about that throughout the whole thing. It's like, yeah, this is not what we saw coming from this. But yeah, it was an interesting direction to take. Kind of makes sense if you're going to do a horror movie to do it with Doctor Strange. But
Right.
yeah,
What'd you think of
I just
the?
remember feeling so underwhelmed.
What'd you think
yeah.
about the fantastic Reed Richards? And
Oh, I was
Only reason to
excited for a
watch it.
minute. Yeah, I was excited for a minute because it's like, oh, because I didn't know about the Fantastic Four thing. I knew about Professor X, obviously,
right.
but I was like, oh, we got X-Men and Fantastic Four, and it's the guy that's been wanting to play Reed Richards all these years, and I was really excited. Then what happens to all of them? It's like, oh man,
Yeah.
so
Right. I
it
was
just like
like,
took the
oh,
wind out of my sails. Yeah,
but again, they're in an alternate universe, so it doesn't
right,
really
right.
mean anything. But I thought that was interesting.
If that is a teaser for a Fantastic Four coming with him playing Reed, then I'm all for it.
Oh yeah, yeah,
Yeah, for
really cool.
sure. I think that scene. Yeah, I think it's the only reason to watch the movie is that I know they're gonna do more Scarlet Witch stuff, but
Yeah,
like I said, I'm banking on Thor. I'm excited for that one. It's getting good reviews where Doctor Strange did not.
Mhm.
But I remember going into it, I didn't even hear any of the reviews, like expecting this to be great, and I like look at Phil, I'm like, you're not feeling this either, right? Because like this is not a good movie. It's like, yeah, no, I feel the same way. And I felt bad because I thought everyone loved this movie, and then like as it went on, you saw that people didn't love this movie. So
yeah,
I still liked it.
yeah.
I thought it was better than I liked it better than Eternals.
I have
I
not seen
liked it.
Eternals, so I
Yeah,
can't judge on
I liked
that.
it better
I
than
actually
that.
liked Eternals better. I really enjoyed
You,
Eternals. Actually,
I
yeah,
again, I'll say it again. I enjoy Internals. I respect what they were trying to do. It just I felt that it wasn't the right thing for a movie. It should have been a Disney Plus show because
mm,
it really tried to flesh out all the characters, but it was like all in one movie, and it was
yeah.
like too much, you know.
Gotcha.
All right. And Tevi's like Eternals was so disappointing. Steve liked Doctor Strange, so you got mixed emotions on it. I liked it. My son
I
liked it, and
I will say, I didn't mean to interrupt you, Mike. Go ahead.
no, you're fine. You're fine. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say, we've been watching Miss Marvel obviously as well, and as we were watching Doctor Strange and what happens with Black Bolt, and I'm like, man, they are really just trying to erase the Inhumans completely.
Oh
Aren't
yeah,
they?
100%. I'm so upset that I'm one episode behind of Miss Marvel because I had a really busy week last week, and I'm like, oh, okay, I'm gonna catch up this week. But I've been really enjoying Miss Marvel.
I
It's
still
really good.
have only watched one episode. Braden and I haven't had a chance to watch it, and then on my own, I'm still trying to finish Breaking Bad because I got into a Breaking Bad binge watch while I was sick, and I still have one more season to go. And I kind of like mad at myself because I can't believe I never watched this show before.
No, it's a good show. I've seen it only in pieces. I really do want to binge watch it all, but I know how it ends. So obviously we'll not spoil it for you, but
I've only seen half of the first episode twice.
Oh, really? I don't think it'd be your thing, Brant. Definitely not your thing. But
that's what I couldn't get into it, so I kept trying because everybody's like raving about it. And it's like, man, I'm not feeling this. But I am watching Justified right now, so that's a little weird. But
right. I feel like it takes a couple of episodes with Breaking Bad, but then once you get sucked in, like you get sucked in. In the first season, you can get through real quick because it's only 8 episodes. And then seasons 2, 3, 4, and 5 are all 13 episodes each. And and I was just like, I got through the first season, like, you know, dealing with COVID. I got through that first season in no time flat.
Yeah.
And I'm on second season, third season. And now that I'm back, you know, full health and stuff and working and being busy, I'm like 1 episode a week right now. Today I watched 2 episodes and that was like a record for me since I was being sick. So it was, man, I love that show. It's so good, dude.
Yeah, no, it definitely seems up your alley. There's so many shows that I like want to watch full stuff, like Sopranos. Like I want to watch fully. I've seen the first episode 5 times because of just like different things I had to do. Like just because like when you do stuff in television, like you, especially for school, like you have to watch it a lot. So I watched that so many times. And same thing for Mad Men. I've seen that pilot so many times and I've never seen the
that's
full
such a good show too.
Yeah, and it's such a good show. I'm right now watching Heartbreaker, so I'm watching something very, very calm and soothing.
Stranger Things.
I want to watch Gary Girls.
I don't know what that is. Oh, is that
it's an Irish comedy.
Irish comedy. Gotcha.
Irish comedy. And I I watched the pilot and I very much enjoyed it, so I gotta watch that.
Stranger Things coming out in a couple.
I finished Stranger Things already. Oh, I haven't even
started it. I haven't even started the one that was recent.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
The final. There's only 2 episodes in this final season. It comes out on July 1st, and then I found out that Cobra Kai is coming out on September 9th.
We're like 2 seasons behind on Cobra Kai.
Are you?
Yeah, that came back yesterday.
Yeah, that came out today, I think. And I'm like, so much television.
What was it?
Only Murders in the Building.
Oh, I've never even...
Yeah, it's
that's a great
Steve
show.
Martin.
You'd love it.
Martin Short and Selena Gomez.
Now that you say that. Good. I've seen previews to it and I've heard nothing but good things about it.
It's a good show.
Pacing is so good. The mystery is good. Yeah. I've been hearing really good things about this second season, but I watch it with my family, so getting everyone in one room is hard. To do it all. And then like Ted Lasso will probably come back soon and we like that as well. Anyways, back to comics. There's some good TV and movie stuff coming out.
Yeah. All right. So we talked about Black Adam. So we're going to talk about the conclusion to this, to the final story or part of the
I have not heard any good things from you guys. I've only been hearing lackluster things about Nocterra since I've dropped it.
So Nocterra issue 11, it basically finished for right now. We don't know when we're going to get the next volume to this. But, you know, our guys found the place that was supposed to, I don't know, maybe bring back the light. And the Blacktop Bill guy kind of betrayed them all. And it looks like, what's her name? Val wound up going missing at the end, right? She kind of sacrificed herself. Yeah. And she comes back, and it looks like she is a character like Blacktop Bill. That's kind of So that was interesting. But the others went on without her as she kind of sacrificed herself to save the others. No result in the whole Great PM.
No. But it's interesting that they started off this arc kind of pushing Piper to the forefront, and as it's gone on, she's become your character that's narrating all the stories and everything, and then now M is the lead rig, so her brother, Val's brother. So now it's those two, and like you said, Val is apparently like Blacktop Bill and on her own, and that's where they leave things. So I thought it was interesting. It was very action heavy, but there was some, meaningful conversations between Val and Piper and things like that. And the art continues to be gorgeous in that book. So I'm still enjoying it.
So, but who knows what's going to, we don't know when the next arc is going to come out now, you know? So interesting, and how this whole thing will happen, because they have the great monster that's come, and Blacktop Bill is supposedly going to evolve into something else.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
Basically, they're King in Black.
Yeah, it kind of is like that. That's what it
is.
reminded me of, for sure.
Yeah.
So I don't know. We'll see where it goes from here, but it's probably going to be a little while. All right, so let's move on to number 5. Kat, what was your number 5?
My number 5 was, let's look. This is because I had 8 books, but The Amazing Spider-Man issue 4. This is a weird series for me, man. I like the Black Cat stuff. I thought that was interesting, but I like the ending where they kind of tricked you, where you're like, oh, okay, you think like he's gonna try to get Tombstone, and then he doesn't find him, and then Robbie is okay. I thought that was interesting.
Yeah.
I want to love this series, and I really don't. I just think it's fine. I thought this issue was fine, and that's why it's like number 5 out of 8. It was a fine issue. The art is fine. The MJ stuff is weird, and I think they're just stalling to get to issue 900, and I hope issue 900's good, because they've been really trying to build up to this.
I'm just frustrated that they keep just dangling this. 6 months ago, something happened and you don't know why, and Mary Jane's with Paul, and it's like, come on, you give us a little bit more than that. It's like that's the one thing that's keeping me on the hook, right? It's like I want to know what happened, but I don't care about anything else. I do agree that it was an interesting twist with Tombstone and how that all went down, and how he basically, hustled him into taking out Rose's guys. I thought that was clever. But aside from that, I'm just like, just give me the answer so I can move on.
The issue is that's what Spider-Man's been. You're enjoying it.
I'm enjoying it because obviously that's what this whole arc, this whole series is going to be. And this is an opening story arc just to get people going and wondering. And yes, I think this is an arc just to get to 900. And then once 900 is here and gone, then I think he has an opportunity to focus on the story that he wants to tell. And so, again, this is just a little opening tease with a character that we kind of haven't seen in quite some time. And, and I like it. I think for me, I don't have a problem with waiting as long as it starts to give you some, answers to your questions. That's 900. I think maybe
are they
going to get there. I don't know.
Are we getting the answers?
I think we're going to start seeing him work for Norman Osborn soon. I think that's coming up in issue. I don't know if it's issue 9 or 8 or whatever it is. But all that stuff is getting ready to come out. But I think this is kind of just an opening taste to give you an idea of like maybe the type of writer that Zeb Wells is. I don't think John Romita Jr. is going to be on this book forever. I think maybe this might be his only story arc that he does. So maybe it's just for him as well. So I don't know, but I enjoyed it. And you guys already mentioned kind of the good parts. Like, the Mary Jane thing was there just to obviously tease you and piss you off some more. And I saw Black Cat and I almost shit myself because the one thing I want to not see is him draw a black cat. Because
she was not as bad as it could have been, but it's still, John Romita Jr.'s art for Black Cat. The thing that I think that annoys me is that, like, if you really think about it, Marvel's been teasing us about Spider-Man since Dan Slott ended his book. And that was a long time ago. We've been dealing with years of them doing nothing. And
that's in all reality, that's Nick Spencer's fault, because Nick Spencer
I think it's Spider-Man. I think it's Spider-Man's office's fault, because think about it. There's been a lot of writers since, and every single writer has been doing the same thing. So I really think it's editorial saying this is what you have to do with Spider-Man. And that is my biggest worry about this run, where it's like editorial hasn't changed. Now it has now, because Joe Quesada left and maybe one other editor has left. Maybe a year from now things will change, but nothing's changing right now. And I don't think anything's going to change with issue 900. And that's like annoys me.
So you think they're like, don't change him, like tremendously. Just like put them through the paces. That's all you can do. Yeah, I could see that.
Because that's what's been happening for even in Advanced Lost Run. That happened. It's been happening since One More Day. Like nothing has changed.
Yeah.
I'm not saying there hasn't been good stories since then, but I think that's why he's in such a holding pattern.
Right. I mean, when it comes to this particular issue, I think Zeb Wells will do a good job writing Spider-Man when it comes to, and I said this in my review about him being desperate. I felt like in the entire Nick Spencer run, like Spider-Man was just like, oh, I'm going to win. I'm going to beat you. I'm going to do whatever. And here in this book, you can see how desperate he was to break those chains, to get out of it, to try to save the people that supposedly, Tombstone was going to kill and everything else. And I that's what I liked about it. You know what I'm saying? And I felt like we haven't gotten that from Spider-Man in a long time. And you said the plot already, how it was all a setup for Spider-Man to do Tombstone's dirty work for him by taking out the Rose. So that was very clever. Does it have anything to do with the main story of what this story is going to be about? No, absolutely not. But I did like that. Again, that what we get for right now, at least anyway. Yeah,
I'll agree that Spider-Man's most interesting when he's fighting from underneath. And, when he's just happy-go-lucky, everything's going well, it's usually not as interesting. So.
So we'll see where it goes. I think that tipping point is going to be 900, and then hopefully Zeb Wells will progress the story. Let's hope I'm right, and let's hope.
Hey, I hope so too.
Stall tactics.
I hope so too.
I will be pissed off just like you guys, because there'll be a breaking point, because that's like what happened with Kindred. Who's Kindred? Well, 58 issues later, we finally find out.
And it was pretty underwhelming.
I don't want that. I got a question here. Mike, when you were on vacation with your son doing comic shops, I saw a volume of the Silver Coin series, and I was able to get it during my last run to my local comic shop. I was wondering if you picked it up. Yeah, I have all the issues to Silver Coin. So, yes, I did. And I have this most recent issue as well.
I didn't love Silver Coin. I remember I read like the first 2 issues. I read the first one, which I think was James Tynion. I don't remember it, but the second one was Kelly Thompson. I remember that, and I didn't love it. I was like, Kelly Thompson can't sell me on this. Yeah, and I dropped it. If she can't sell me on this, I'm not gonna enjoy it.
You dropped it. I feel like you dropped it at the worst possible time.
Really got better after that.
Out of all the issues, she has been the worst writer on it.
Really?
I feel like she can't do horror, and the most recent issue was written by James Tynion. So, and we're going to talk about it later because it is on my countdown.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I love horror. I'm going to see Black Telephone tomorrow. I love horror. And that's why I was really excited for that book.
There's been so many good issues of this series. And
that's good to hear.
That one, I hated that second issue.
That's what made me drop it. And I didn't like the first issue. I remember the first issue I was a little weary on. I was like, oh, all right, whatever. And that's why I skipped it. But I'm glad to hear it got better.
Yeah.
Especially with those one shots. You never know when it's going to get better.
Right. Exactly.
Anything gets turned around.
And I feel like in this story, it's just like one of those ones, well, if the story doesn't sound interesting to me, I don't have to read it this month.
True.
So that's what I like about it. All right. So we'll move on to Brant. What's your number 5, Brant?
Kind of by default, Batman, Superman, World's Finest.
By default. Oh man,
interesting. Yeah. Well, so a lot of my books, I liked most of what I read. So, but a lot of them, except for like my top 2, fell into like the same. So I was just like shuffling things around and stuff. But I did enjoy it. But there's still only certain aspects of this series that I like. I like the character stuff. I like the stuff with Robin and Supergirl. I love the stuff with them fusing and this ties it to our main topic, obviously. So this is just making a mental note of the timestamp. Sorry about that. But so that whole part where they willed the ring off of Green Lantern and took it and fused to become this really cool looking Batman Superman amalgamation, which was fun to see. I really enjoyed that part of it, but this whole other side of it, the villain that they're facing and stuff, I still don't care about as much. So that part takes me out. I think it was better handled in this issue than any of the previous issues. So that's why it's actually made my top 5 this time, which I think is probably the first time since maybe like issue 2. I don't remember.
I was on the same boat with you with World's Finest. I did not like the first issue. I randomly got the second issue because it was just a light week. And then the third issue I enjoyed more. And then this issue I was really surprised by. This is the first time I really, really liked this book because I love the idea of them coming together and like literally working together in each other's heads. I thought that was so cool. And like action-wise, that was really interesting. And then becoming a Green Lantern on top of it. Awesome. But I really like the ending. I like the idea of like one of them might not survive. I like that Robin was kind of put in this other dimension. Even though I don't like the villains, I liked what the villains kind of did for what the heroes are going to do. And obviously it's Dan Moore art. And I just thought it was a really good action issue. I was just pleasantly surprised because I had not been liking the series that it really impressed me this issue.
Right. The ending was cool, but at the same time, it's like, well, you know, they're all going to be okay. I mean, I guess that's true with every comic.
Well, maybe we don't because this is like feels very out of continuity. So maybe we don't know they'll be okay.
That's true.
I mean, I love this issue too. The artwork is by far one of the best books out there when it comes to art.
Oh yeah, and it's gorgeous.
Like you guys talked about already. The Fuse was absolutely awesome. I love, again, how someone's going to have to sacrifice themselves because the door can only close from the inside. Am I a big fan of this villain? No, right? But I do like his power, how he can possess people, and he is magic. So what happens is Superman is weak to magic. Yeah. So I love how Mark Waid was like, okay, what can I do to hurt Clark? And they figured it out. You know what I'm saying? And but for Batman and Superman to work together, that's just the ultimate team up right there. And then to come up with that Green Lantern power and the way it looked, I was like, holy crap. And I wound up getting that that variant cover. Which one is it? This. So I wound up getting this. And
that's a cool one.
In my comic shop actually threw it in there. I didn't know that I was going to get that. And I'm like, whoa, that's an awesome cover. I'm like, what the hell is that? You know, and then I mentioned it on my comic book haul. And then one of my viewers, Peter Barker, mentioned, Mike, when you read the issue, it will all make sense to you. I'm like, well, what is that? So I read it and I'm like, oh, it does make sense, right? So I love this book. I really do. And I'm looking forward to future issues. Like once they get done with this first story arc, I'm very curious where this book will go also, you know?
Yeah. Especially because it's like, I think this issue is supposed to, or this arc is supposed to build up to Batman versus Robin, which has to do with Damian, who's not even in this book. So I'm so curious about that. I see the hype now in this one. This bought me into the hype. Because again, issue 1, I'm like, I don't get it. Why does everyone like this book? And then like, you live with it a little bit. I'm like, it's a good book.
And it feels like, to me, I said this last time we talked about it, it feels like an older DC universe, especially when you have like all these different characters in here, you know? It's not just Batman, Superman. It has everybody in there. It's had the Flash in there, Green Lantern in there. It's got Alfred in there. It's just, Batman, Superman, of course, it's got all those characters in there.
We do have a super chat. Supreme Omega on MCU Miss Marvel. Thoughts on changes from the comics with Zoe, with Nakia, with Jeannie, reveal about her powers. It feels, I didn't watch that last part yet, so I can't answer that.
I haven't.
It feels a bit watered down.
Yet.
I like the comic more. But I love that this is happening for people that have never read the comic. I think it's an important show. I think they've got the spirit of all the characters, even if they're a little different. I think the spirit's there. So I like it. I think it's a great show. And I don't mind the changes because some, adaptations, I think need changes. I don't like when an adaptation tells me the exact thing that happened in the book because I can read the book for that. I like when they put their own spin on it.
Yeah, I think so far, and I am caught up on this, but I won't spoil anything. But I think so far that all the changes that they've made, I was nervous about them going in, but I think they've all made sense. They've made workarounds that work with the cinematic universe and with divorcing it from the Terrigenesis and Inhumans and all that, and just kind of making it work better visually for viewers of the television show. And I don't know, like there's tiny little differences anytime you have an actor portraying something that you voiced in your own head, and you've gotten different, when you're reading a comic, you put their inflections in certain places. You have a voice in your head how that character is supposed to read, so it's always going to be different than what you've pictured. But I think they've done a really good job at servicing the original series. So.
And I was mentioning the powers. I think something that's really cool is the Inhuman part of Ms. Marvel was never interesting. It was never good. That's not what made Ms. Marvel a popular character.
Right.
I like this. This has to do with her heritage. That never, it kind of did with the Inhuman aspect, but not her Muslim heritage. So I think it's cool that they're doing that in the show. And I think that makes it a little bit more powerful. I don't love the visuals of her powers, but I don't mind it either. Yeah. I think it's fine. It's still pretty much the same power.
Right. At least we still get the same powers. I was nervous that they weren't even going to let her be able to do that kind of stuff. But I enjoy that they found a way to make that happen too.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you for the super chat.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. I saw a comment.
Oh, we got another super chat. Hold on. Yeah. Miss Marvel, is episode 6 enough to tell Kamala's story?
No.
I don't know. Or 6 episodes enough? No, because they'll probably get a season 2. You know, hopefully.
That's a perfect show. I think that show is perfect for multiple seasons for sure.
Yeah. Oh yeah, absolutely. I think it's enough to tell an arc, obviously.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But for her whole story, no, it definitely needs multiple seasons, I think.
Absolutely. There's this one comment from Gus who says, I'm going to try to get the Harley Quinn skateboarding cover tomorrow. So there is this cool cover. It's done by Ivan Tao, and it has Harley Quinn on a skateboard running over the Joker, right?
Oh, that's fun.
And the cool thing about it is that the picture on the skateboard is Poison Ivy, and there's a word bubble that comes out of it, and it says "oops" as she's running over the Joker. It's pretty cool, man. I always I saw that cover and I'm like, man, that is pretty badass. So, if it's available to get at your shops, I definitely would recommend getting that cover if you love Poison Ivy and Harley Quinn covers.
I do. Maybe I'll get it. What book is it for? Harley Quinn itself?
I think it's Harley Quinn. I think so.
Then maybe I'll skip it. We'll see.
Yeah, that's it.
That's still a cool one.
You see Harley, and then it says the word bubble there. It says "oops" as she runs over.
That's fun.
Yeah, this is on a skateboard. That's neat. Some cool stuff there. Thanks for sharing that, Brent.
Yeah.
All right. Well, my turn. I'm going to go on to my number 5, and my number 5 is actually Dark Crisis Young Justice issue.
Ooh, as someone who's never really read Young Justice before, too, right?
Yeah, I liked it because I liked that wasn't Brian Michael Bendis writing a Young Justice book. And I love the characters in it, obviously. And I liked, how Cassie was doing the narration in here. And this book was kind of cool because it focused on, what was it? Connor, Tim, Cassie, and Impulse, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And so they wind up all of a sudden in their morning, they're Justice League, and then they wind up disappearing to a completely different Earth, and they have no idea how they got there. Cassie's trying to find them, and she tries to go to help to Nightwing, and she tries to go to was it Superman? Was it Superman that they went to?
Superman and Wally, I think.
Yeah.
She went to.
And they kind of blow her off, and they're kind of they're mourning, they're dealing with it their own way, and so she's kind of left to kind of fend for herself. The only one part that I didn't like, it was just we're always faced to deal with the big boy problems. I felt like she was a little bit whiny in the issue.
Yeah, I didn't love her narration at all. I thought she was so out of character because she literally is the leader of the Young Justice team.
Right.
And I felt like she was not a leader. She was just really whiny in this issue.
She was, that one scene is the only scene that really bothered me. Because I felt like she couldn't be resourceful in that she could figure things out. But then all of a sudden, a different version of herself shows up.
Yeah,
on that
her past version.
Right?
It was the version from the original Young Justice.
Right. And so I thought that this story was interesting. It captured me enough to where I wanted to keep going with this, and I felt like this doesn't directly tie into the whole event. It's kind of just a side story. So if you like Young Justice, you might be into this book, but it's not a must read. I just think it adds to the it just kind of adds to the reading experience of the Dark Crisis, you know, as an overall thing of what's happening in the universe currently.
Yeah,
I was a little torn on this one as like someone who loved the 90s Young Justice. Like I said, I thought Cassie was out of character. Sissy was really out of character too. I know no one really knows who she is, but she's like someone who retired being a hero, but she's like, whatever, Cassie, I don't care.
She was
But they're also like
Arrowette,
besties.
right?
Yeah, Arrowette.
Yeah.
And I was a little disappointed with her characterization. So I loved getting this because I missed these characters, and I do think it was better than the Bendis stuff, but I also was disappointed with it.
Right.
So I was a little bit in the middle.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I was just gonna say, I wonder if like her personality ties into what's actually happening. So like she wishes that they were dead and then they disappear. So
Yeah.
I wonder if it's like something influencing, or maybe she's even in an alternate place and doesn't realize it, or you know, she's in a dream. Who knows what's going on? But I think that's probably part of it. If not, then they got her character a little off.
It seemed like it though, like whatever she did or said.
Right.
It made it happen, right? And then I did find it comical when the three of them were fighting what's her face?
Oh, the Mighty Endowed.
Yeah. I thought it was kind of comical.
Yeah. I think that was a throwback to like a 90s character.
It was I looked her up because I don't know who she is.
Right, I don't either.
I think it was when Young Justice first came out, it was their first adversary.
Okay.
Yeah.
I love their like, oh man, we'll never forget this because this is like no amount of therapy can solve this and all that stuff.
Yeah.
I thought it was a lot of fun, and it was just I had fun seeing these characters back in that element, in that version, that history that I remember them being, and loving those characters back in the day. So that got me excited for it. And any flaws with characterization and stuff, I kind of overlooked just because I was having so much fun with these versions of these characters again.
I also kind of played it to the point where the Justice League just died, so everyone is going to act a little bit off, and you don't know how it's going to affect each character, right? So I kind of looked at it as that, but again, just that one little part where she was asking Wally and she was asking Nightwing and or Dick, and she was asking everybody for help and they all turned her down. That's when she was like kind of just lost it there. And I'm just like, she just seems like a little whiny baby. And I'm just like, that was just that one instance where it got to me.
Yeah. And I get that. I get that from both of you. It's like, if anybody's going to, you know, shrug that off and be headstrong and just go figure it out for herself, it's going to be Cassie. So I totally get that.
But I'm on board with it's 6 issues, so I'm gonna probably play it out, and I definitely wanted to give it a chance because, again, I need DC books to read, you know. And
that is definitely true. I will definitely stick with issue 2 because you need some DC books,
right?
Because is anyone picking up Black Adam issue 2?
I said I would.
I actually am going to.
Yeah, I said I would. I'll give it another try and see how it turns out.
See, this is why I have 8 books, because I'm not picking up issue 2.
All right, so we already talked about the next 2 books. So in the next one, we're just going to dive into the number 4 pick. And Kat, what was your number 4?
Mine was Dark Crisis. Even after everything I said, I only had 8 books, so it's 3 stars.
What about you, Brett?
Mine was Nocterra, which we already talked about.
Okay, and mine was Spider-Man, which we already talked about.
There you go.
See, it wasn't my number 1, but I still enjoyed it. All right, so now we're going to move on, and we're going to talk about Rogue Sun. What are we on, issue 5 on this now?
Yeah, it's like the origins of the mom. Which I thought was interesting to get. It's so weird because, like, I think Ryan gave us so much that I wanted more, and that was not kind of a negative. And I was like, oh, this is like really good, but I was like, I wanted to like get in her head more about like how she got those powers. Like you get a little scene of it. I want more of her, I think is what I want. Even though it was all about her, I just like, oh, just
I
scratch the
think you
surface
will.
here.
I think you will get more
Yeah.
about her. The interesting thing about this book, and it wasn't in my top 5 this time. It was pretty slow. But I did find it interesting learning about the mom and the backstory and all that other stuff. But everyone wants this freaking Rogue Sun power. She wants it.
Yeah. For
The
different
brother
reasons.
wants it. The sister wants it. Everyone wants this power. You know what I'm saying? So what's going to happen? What's going to happen, man? What do you think?
I really think it's a story of like who's a hero and who's a villain. I don't know who is.
Right.
Because you thought she's dressed in green. Like
Yeah.
every character in a comic who's dressed in green is usually a villain. So like you're like, oh, she's gonna be the villain, and then she's like, no, she's just trying to do something good for her kid because she hates the husband for a reason. So it's like I feel like everyone has this morally gray compass, which is super interesting.
It's weird though. It's because like, and I agree with you. We don't know why the father actually left. You know, he didn't tell her the real reason.
He said you'll find out one day.
Yeah, and we also know that, you know, his family was well aware of all of this other stuff and all aware of him reaching out to Dylan and all this stuff. So it's like there's much more to the story. And the mom, you know, she's just protecting her son and everything, but it's like corrupted her because she made a deal. And so it's a lot of complex characters and emotions going on in this whole universe, and I actually really love this issue. I was totally enthralled by it. I didn't feel like it was slow at all. This was like I had been on the opposite of you guys. It was like this one is taking me a while to get into. It's not grabbing me as much as like Radiant Black, but this issue like really did it. Yeah, right. So it was like now I feel like everybody's motivations, and I understand, you know, what's going on with each one of these characters now. And so now I want to know what's happening with each one of these, and it's just keeping that mystery going for, you know, every single arc.
The cool thing is what I like is who does he trust?
Right.
Like he can't trust anybody now. He can't trust the brother. He can't trust the sister. He can't trust the mom. Can't trust the dad. Like, is the dad the bad guy? Like Kat said, is the mom the good guy? Like who is what in this
is
book?
Anyone a good guy or a bad guy? Do they exist?
Also, like, is there going to be a supporting cast in the long run, or is he going to have like a sidekick in the long run, or is he just going to be with his dad, like paired up with his dad, like kind of like you know, an AI or a Firestorm, you know, type of character? You know, it's very interesting, man. There's so many different ways this book can actually go, you know?
Yeah.
So we'll see. I think it's a very interesting book. I definitely say that. And for people that are out there that haven't really given this an honest try, I think you should. This is something a little bit different. You know, I know people sometimes are like, can't get into new superheroes from independent comics sometimes, but I don't think you guys should pass on this one. I think this is definitely worth a pickup, in my opinion.
Yeah. Yes, we are.
Yeah.
We are talking about Rogue Sun.
That's right. All right. So that was that. So we move on to our number 3. What's your number 3, Miss Uno?
Mine is Nightwing, issue 93.
Mine too.
Yeah, it was a fun action issue. I you know, moved the plot a little bit in the end, but I just liked seeing Barbara and Nightwing team up. There's not much that happens to this issue. I'll like think back at it, but the art was good. And it was just a fun issue.
There was that moment where he accidentally says "I love you," and they just do this freeze frame where his eyes go bug-eyed, and she's like, "What?" And then he's like, "It just slipped out."
Thank God.
Yeah. That was funny. You had a Heartless battling what's his face, the big baddie. I can't remember.
And you do
yeah.
get the ending of like, all right, there's some movement with Heartless and like what's going on.
This is why he
with him,
gets
which
the
was
hearts.
good.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. So that was interesting. And other than that, it was just Nightwing and Oracle outing some cops.
Yeah,
but
which I thought that was done in an organic way.
absolutely.
I thought it was done well.
Yeah. I enjoy reading this book, but it wasn't enough plot progression for me.
Yeah,
it's just not. I mean, you're talking about Spider-Man having no plot progression, right? And to me, the story has been on a stall for months. But
the difference for me for Nightwing is that there is a lot more character moments than Spider-Man, because Spider-Man was just like, all right, he's running around.
I can agree with you there for sure. Like I said,
art's better.
In this new run, we've only had 5 issues where Tom Taylor's been telling the story since issue 81, and what issue are we on in Nightwing now?
93, yeah. So it's been almost a year.
Almost a year on this book, and what's been different since it's come out? Nothing.
No, I agree. I don't love Nightwing as much as I did, but I think it's always it's a fun book. I never drop it. I think the art's good. Right. It's just not Dark Knights of Steel. It's just not Dark Knights of Steel.
I just don't think I can put it in my top 5 anymore unless I get some more plot progression again.
Or if you have 8 books.
yeah. Because it's just like, I still don't. Yeah, we got a little bit of what Heartless is. He's like some kind of robot guy or whatever it is, but that's all I got. We got good character moments. You always get good character moments in Nightwing, but you don't get any plot progression in Nightwing. Nothing's happened.
I do agree with BDG, who says the art kind of carries the book, and I don't know if it would hit my top 5 as much if it was a weaker artist on this book, because then I really think it really would show that the plot's not moving. Because when there were those moments with those weaker artwork, I'm like, ugh, like I didn't love that issue. But then when you have this, which is the same scripting, you're like, oh, this is a good issue, because like the action was just so good and the art's so good for this book.
I mean, I love all that stuff. That's why I just wish just move the story along, man. I don't know what to say about that. Just like, how many issues can you have Nightwing and Barbara in the apartment building? It's just like pressing a button. Like one of the highlights, like Brant, then he said it. He's like, he said, "I love you," and that was your highlight of the book. A character moment, a panel. You know what I'm saying? And and it's just like, that's all good, but we need something more than just Blockbuster throwing Heartless outside a window, and you're seeing Heartless again at the end of the book for the 4th time, and nothing happens. Right? That's a Kindred effect right there. Because how many times did we see Kindred?
Oh, 100%.
Nothing happened with the character.
Yeah, and you could have boiled down that whole other thing with the defacing the statue and the cops and all that stuff to a couple of pages, and then move the main plot forward a lot further. Yeah,
but I will always read this book because
absolutely,
Tom Taylor, for me, for the most part, is a great writer, and I think why I love that book so much as I do is those character moments. And most of the stuff he writes is phenomenal. I don't like Superman or Superboy.
Superboy, I wish it was better. Weakest one, I wish it was better.
I liked his Suicide Squad. His Suicide Squad was great, and that was like 2 issues. So I don't know. All right, so that was our Nightwing discussion right there, right? So
we do have a super chat, so let's answer that first. The MCU Disney Plus shows, is 6 episodes really enough to tell one part of an overarching story? Shouldn't it be 11, 13 per season? I think they spend so much money that like 6 episodes, like they're I'd rather have like more money in these 6 episodes than like spreading it thin for 13. And then when you get 13, it gets boring. There's a lot of filler episodes. Just give me 6 and give me a solid series in 13. Yeah, I like the 6. And you're getting more characters because of that. So if Ms. Marvel is 13, that's 13 weeks of Ms. Marvel. I want to see 6 weeks of Ms. Marvel, and then I want to see She-Hulk. I want to see different characters.
The strategy is good because they don't overwhelm you with a ton of shows at once. They always release a show, 6 episodes, and then another show and another show. So they're not competing against each other.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a great model.
Yeah, it's kind of like the classic British model. That's typically what
Mhm.
they would do, is those really short, what they call series instead of seasons. But
Mhm.
I think especially with shows of this type, like you said, Kat, with all the visual effects and all the action, that getting 13 episodes of that, you're going to get your more like your CW shows, where there are a lot of those, throwaway villain of the week kind of stuff, and I think this is better served for this type of show.
Brant, did you watch Obi-Wan?
Yes, watch the whole thing.
The whole thing?
Yeah,
What'd you think of it?
I enjoyed it. There were a couple episodes in the middle that were a little slow, but
Yeah.
overall I enjoyed it. And you got to see, Obi and Darth Vader fight, which is always cool. But yeah, overall, I love the way that it tied in that history and had developed that connection between him and Leia, so that when she does reach out in that original Star Wars movie, it's like, oh, that makes that even more important, more valuable.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
Yeah.
I love the fighting. I love the battle. It's something that I always wanted to see before the Revenge of the Sith came out. Like, that's what I was hoping to see originally when Revenge of the Sith came out.
right.
So that kind of that closed it off for me. Like, I really enjoyed it. I had a lot of fun with that series, but I wasn't always the greatest series. But once you had Darth Vader in there, that's when the series started getting good for me.
Yeah, and bringing Hayden back and having them even in the the flashback, having them face to face was cool. And then in that last episode, I won't spoil it for anybody out there that hasn't seen it, but in that last episode, you see the face to face and stuff. It's some good stuff if you're a Star Wars fan.
Absolutely. And we know Kat's not. That's why I didn't ask Kat, because
Right.
Kat would never watch
it.
that
But
show.
I love hearing everyone talk about their favorite. I have my Phil, my friend. He his whole family loves Star Wars. I always like asking them, "How's Obi-Wan?" Just to hear from their perspective. Oh, you can watch it now. I'm good, but I want to hear how you like it. I'll watch the movies. That's where I'm at. I'll give me a Star Wars movie. I'll see it. I don't need to spend any time watching the shows, though.
All right. So you guys both gave your number 3, right? Yeah.
Yes.
My number 3 was Batman Superman World's Finest issue 4.
Yes.
Nice. Gus says, I'm saving my weekly allowance for the comic shop. I'm tired of spending $100 or $200 of comics a week. I think it's interesting that your allowance is $100 to $200 a week. That's a lot of money. I'm happy to hear it, though. Yeah, I try to stick to like $30 to $50 a week. That's kind of where I'm at the store. Sometimes it gets over. If you get those like 20 books, you get like 70 or 80, and I don't mind, but I like when it's 30 to 50.
I get too much. I read too much.
I spend way too much, but I don't mind. Like, I like a good mix. Like, so I like when I can get a decent amount of new comics, and then I can buy some older comics or something that I can collect, because I do both. I collect and read, and then if the reading copies are worth more, I always said that's an added bonus. But my ideal is like 12 to 13 books a week, like new books.
Yeah. Oh, I love
that's kind of the
12,
sweet
13.
spot. Yeah.
Love it.
If I could do that every week, but then there's some weeks where there's a lot of good books that come out, and it's like I don't want to miss them.
Yeah. No, I really like. I try the indies. Like, if I rather give an issue 1 of an indie a try, be like, oh, I want to see what this is all about. But yeah, 12 to 13 is such a good sweet spot, because when I get the 8, I'm like, oh, it's too little. I wanted to read more. But then when you get to the 20, I'm like, whoa, this is way too much to read this week.
Exactly. Yeah.
And I hate when I don't read all my issues in 1 week. Like this week, it drove me crazy, but I physically just did not have the time. Like even today, I read, like I said, I have a few issues left, and even today I read 4 issues, of a book. I think Rogue Sun was one of them that I read, and Maestro was another one. The Miles Morales book, I still read that. Not good.
See, this is why I have 8 books to read the Miles Morales book.
But I want to know what's going on. Like, it's in a different story, and it's in a different universe.
Every arc, you guys say that, and
he's dealing with like his sister being older, and I think I
And
really
Concrete.
found out
Yeah.
the issue with Miles Morales, right?
What's that?
It's I think there's decent ideas for story, but the execution is not there, and character growth within the run is not there either. So it just makes for a very lackluster series right now.
I feel so bad because, like, yeah, I want to love a Miles Morales book, but it's been the same creative team for such a long time. And then you get the What If Miles Morales stuff, which obviously didn't hit home for a lot of people. So yeah, it's a shame, and I know I've talked about it. It's like, oh, we have a Miss Marvel show and we have a Miss Marvel book. We don't even have a Miss Marvel book anymore. But when it was out, it was a book that did nothing with the characters. It was like, here's this one and done.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Exactly. All right, so let's jump into our number 2. Kat, what was your number 2?
My number 2 was Rogue Sun. We already talked about it.
All right. What do you got, Brent?
Mine was Dark Crisis Young Justice. So we already talked about it.
Gotcha. Yours was pretty higher than mine.
Yeah.
And then mine was actually Gunslinger Spawn. You guys hear me praise about this all the time, but, once again, Brett Booth's artwork is just a visual masterpiece, and just a lot of interactions with the She-Spawn character in this book. It's just fun. People that have read other Spawn books realize that this is probably one of the best Spawn books, because you don't even have to be a Spawn fan to enjoy this book, because this character's got his own voice. And that's what makes it interesting. And in this book, you got a little bit of an origin story of kind of where the main character came from. He's a character that is misplaced in time. He came from the late 1800s, and now he's in today's time, and he's trying to find a way back. And he needs the original Spawn's help to get back in his time. So it's pretty interesting story. I really like it, man. And like I said, Kat doesn't like Brett Booth's artwork, and however, this is his best artwork to date for me. Period.
I'm glad that he's on a series that seems to fit his stuff. I think I did read the first issue of Gunslinger. I read the first issue of King Spawn. I didn't love that one. I gave it a shot though.
Yeah, King Spawn is my least favorite of those ones, because when I look at a Spawn character, I want artwork like how Brett Booth does it.
Like
very
90s
detailed,
style.
very animated. I can understand why Todd McFarlane picked him to draw the book, So it fits it. It fits the style perfectly. So totally love it. All right. So now we move right on to number 1, because we got no other books to talk about, really. Brant, what's your number 1?
Rogue Sun, which we already talked about.
Kat?
Mine is actually World's Finest. I was really surprised by it.
Nice.
I am surprised at that. That is huge.
Yeah.
Me too.
That's
I
awesome.
was shocked when it kept staying there as I read more books. I was like, man, I think because it surprised me so much. That's why I made number 1.
But that's
I wasn't
good, though.
expecting
That's
to
good
like
when a
it.
book does that,
Yeah.
You're just like, wow, this is really good. So my number 1 was Silver Coin. And so James Tynion wrote this issue, and one of his things is writing horror books. And he did this book so good. Kind of give it to you in a nutshell. So there was this woman that owned a diner, right? And next to it was like a McDonald's type of place. And the McDonald's place is always super busy, gets all the customers. There's nobody left in her restaurant. And so this random guy leaves her a tip, and the tip is the silver coin, right? And so she has the silver coin, and she was going to throw it out, and then her coworker says, "You got to hold on to it. That's a lucky coin." She's like, I guess so. And she goes, "Well, tomorrow, hopefully this place is filled with customers." So the customers the next morning show up, and they're ordering food. There are tons of food, and they order second orders, 3 orders, and then all of a sudden one guy's stomach starts to burst, and the lady's like, "What's happening here?" And the chef starts becoming possessed, and he starts just nonstop cooking food, and people are just like dying all over the place because they're overeating. They run out of food, and then the chef starts chopping up people, and he starts cooking them, and they're eating them, and then they all wind up eating each other. I mean, it was intense, man. It was intense. And at the end of the day, they wind up eating the lady that is the owner of the diner until everyone eats themselves, and that's it. And it's over. And then someone else finds the coin. And that's how this series is. There's always somebody else that gets the coin, and everything starts off great, and then it ends up in horror. And that's what makes this book so good. And some people tell better horror stories than other. So when Kelly Thompson wrote hers, she did basically a slasher type of issue, and this was more of just a good, well-told story. There was some thought behind this particular issue. Dude, it was so crazy, man.
I'm glad you liked it. It sounds good.
Yeah, it was really good. And BDG says the gluttony scene from 7 is to the extreme. So have you guys seen 7?
I have not.
Some point. Yeah, a long time ago.
Yeah. There's a part where the guy like eats himself to death. Like he eats and eats and then he dies. And that's kind of what happened in this issue of that. But yeah, really good book, man. So one of my favorite issues of the Silver Coin to date. This one, the other one was one where a kid played a video game until he killed somebody, and then he became part of the video game. That was my other favorite issue. So it was pretty cool. And Spawn made an appearance. He was like one of the characters you could fight with. So,
oh, that's cool.
Yeah. So that was my number 1, and that's that. So I guess now we'll go on to Brant, where we talk about most anticipated, right?
Yeah, let's do it. So unlike previous weeks, I think all our lists are completely different this time, which is
I think except one book, and of course it's me and Brant who
of course
have the one book.
So we'll start with you, Mike. So what are your 3 most anticipated for tomorrow?
So I got She-Hulk issue 4. It's been a long time.
Has this book been delayed? Yeah, because it's been a while, right?
There's a lot of books that got delayed, and they're finally starting to come out. She-Hulk is one of them, and so we're gonna get her, Jennifer Walters, back once again.
That was the last time that came out. Was April?
Yeah, that's a long time. We get the whole story with Jack of Hearts on what's the story going on with him, and just hopefully we get more of Jen Walters being out in the wild, interacting with people, because I think that's where this book shines the most. Yet I want to see more of that mystery at the same time with Jack of Hearts on what happened to him. So yeah, definitely looking forward to it. And then next is Robin, issue 15. So he goes back now to Lazarus Island, and he's going to meet up with Flatline.
Flatline, yeah.
And that is going to be pretty cool. And I want to find out the interaction with those two, what she did with the heart, because they took possession of the heart here. And this is getting ready to wrap up, I think, by issue 17. So I think these last few issues are probably going to be pretty good.
I'm really curious about this one because I think he's going to find out about Flatline.
I think the Flatline issue might be the issue after. It looks like.
Oh, is it the issue after?
Yeah, this is the Talia issue.
Oh, okay.
But either way, it might be fun.
Either way, it's Robin, so it's usually a good book. But yeah.
And then my number 1 is a book that came out a couple weeks ago, but your comic shop should have destroyed it. But now it comes out tomorrow. I already have it, but I just wanted to let people out there know that it is coming tomorrow. That's 8 Billion Genies issue 2. The reason why the first issue, the issue got recalled was because it was too dark. The
printing.
Coloring.
Oh, like the story.
Yeah,
the printing. That makes sense because the printer has been. Yeah,
it was just like you couldn't see all the pictures clearly because just something happened in the press where everything just got colored too dark.
Things have been going crazy with printers, so everything's trying to be rushed. There's no paper,
right?
Yeah, so that's not shocking.
Shops were supposed to destroy it, but when I was in Georgia, all the shops had it. So
that's
I picked up 4 copies of it.
Yeah,
I
saw people talking about it online, and somebody was like, "What are you talking about? It's everywhere!" And they were like, "No, that's not. It's messed up."
Yeah. So I want to say though that I read the issue obviously a couple weeks ago, and it was really good. It gets you a little bit more in depth what the genies can and can't do.
I didn't love issue 1. For someone who didn't love issue 1, do you think this was a better issue in that regard? Or do you think if you enjoyed issue 1, that's why you enjoyed issue 2?
I think issue 2 is different from issue 1. Issue 1 was all about kind of getting to know the characters a little bit and this bar, and then the big shock value of the genies appearing and then seeing them to destroy everything. This had a little bit more involved. Like I said, the rules of the genies and what they can and can't do. And at the end, you get introduced to some characters that show up at the bar. And I was kind of like, I wonder what these characters are going to be about. So I liked it. This book is only 8 issues, so it's going to be a pretty quick mover. And I feel like in this one, it was like the first 8 seconds, I think it was, or 8 minutes. And I think everything is going to go in 8s. Like it's going to be like 8 days, 8 weeks, 8 months. I think each issue might progress the story a little bit further. So I don't know. I liked it. I enjoyed it. I think this is going to be a pretty good book.
Cool. All right, Kat, what about yours?
So my number 3 is Iron Cat issue 1. I've not read Black Cat, but I've been hearing great things from you guys. And I think the idea of her becoming like an Iron Man was super interesting. And looks like it's new reader friendly. So I'm excited to see what that's all about, just to kind of get on the bandwagon. Number 2 is Chip Zdarsky's new Image book, but I believe is a Substack book as well. Public Domain. I've been hearing like crazy stuff about this one. Like people are like, this is the book. This is the book. I'm like, all right, I'm excited to read it. And it's Chip Zdarsky. And then number 1, 7 Secrets, because it's the end of the series. I want to see how it ends. So I'm anticipating that.
Yeah. I'm looking forward to all those books, both of your lists. It's like, I was looking at yours and I didn't want to match your list completely. So I was like, what else can I talk about? But yeah, I had to keep Public Domain on there. That's my number 2 as well. But I'll start with my number 1, which is Buffy 97 number 1, which is interesting because if I'm understanding the synopsis for this correctly, it's the cast of the show actually getting abilities or fighting actual demons. So it's it's a really oddball take on the original series. So I'm curious to see what that's going to entail. So that's why that's on my list. Public Domain for the reasons you mentioned, and Robin number 15 that Mike and I talked about earlier is my number 1. So that's always good for me.
I remember reading what Public Domain was, but I don't remember exactly what was the synopsis of the book.
For which one?
For Public Domain.
Let's read it just for the people, because they don't either. I remember loving the synopsis as well. Sid Dallas is responsible for pop culture's greatest hero, the Domain, but his son Miles and both his sons Miles and David have a complicated relationship with both the creation and their creator. Then can they convince their dad to fight for their family's legacy? And then they just say, "Hey, this is the same people as sex criminals and Chip Zdarsky does the art too, so he just does all of it." But that's the synopsis, which I just think is sounds really meta. Especially, you know, in the day of age where we're like, can the artist, how do you separate the artist from the art? It seems like it's just tackling that completely, which is really interesting.
Yeah. And following up from him being in the crossover stuff too, and just kind of,
cool. Exactly.
Which was such a good issue. So I could only imagine his own book, what that's going to be like.
Exactly.
I think we got a couple questions on here. What is it? So, what is it? What about the Batman Superfuse? Is it fire? I mean, I thought it was
I thought it was.
Yeah, I thought it was pretty awesome, man. I mean, if you haven't read it, it's definitely worth the pickup. Was a Superman Batman Fuse Fire? Haven't read it. Sounds like a key issue. I don't know if it'll be a key issue. I just think it's a cool concept. And don't go into it thinking that it will be, because that happens with the character. Just look at it as a good story, and that's what I thought it was. It's a really solid story.
And it's kind of more of like a one-off. Like we don't know if that'll ever happen again. you know.
Right.
So it's just
Exactly.
it was a cool thing to happen, and visually just really neat to see.
And just an interesting like story beat because you get to see so many Superman Batman comics where they work together and they really work together in this one. So
yeah, and it was just something different. You've never seen that before, so I thought that was really cool. So yeah, and I think that was it. Yeah, it says, what does it say? World's Finest is a nod to throwback to 1960.
it was the beginning. I think now more it's a little bit more like, I don't know, pretty New 52 kind of a little bit.
Yeah, it doesn't feel Silver Age to me, honestly.
Yeah, it did.
So
it
it's a little
did
more
a little bit in that
sophisticated
first
than that.
issue. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with that.
All right, so that's pretty cool. All right, so I guess we're going to wrap it up, right, guys? Anything else that you guys wanted to say before we leave, or any other book that you wanted to highlight that we didn't get a chance to talk about today? Anything like that?
Nothing that was. I mean, New Fantastic Four came out, and it was weird that that was delayed, and I didn't love that. So
I didn't love that
oh,
either.
the Pride book came out. I didn't think it was as good as the DC book. Honestly. Other than that, that's all I read. No, usually
wasn't
isn't.
last time, yeah.
The thing is with the DC book, those characters are actually like doing things past the Pride book. The Marvel book is like, here's a character, here's a random story, and it's like, oh, cool, but it's not really connected to anything. And they didn't really use their heavy hitters at all. So I was just kind of bored with it, honestly.
That's all the Marvel Voices books, not just the Pride ones. It's all of those. They're that way.
I didn't feel like they put as much heart to it. You didn't read it? Honestly, I think it's
I bought it,
Yeah.
but I just didn't get a chance to read it. Yeah, because like I said, it was one of the. I knew it was a thick book, so I was like, how am I gonna find time? This is that Fantastic Four. I got through one page of Fantastic Four, and I ran
the new Fantastic Four.
I did not like that at all.
I was not a fan. And I was looking forward to it too, because like it's Spider-Man, it's Wolverine, it's literally the Fantastic Four, and they hardly interact with each other. It's about this priest for 10 pages, and then they finally get to the Fantastic Four. I'm like, who the hell's this priest?
I was reading about that priest. I was on 2 pages with the priest, and I'm like, what's going on here?
Yeah, it's mostly about him.
The book was that?
Yeah, let me actually count. So we got 1 priest, 2 priests, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Exactly 10. And then you get Spider-Man.
And his name's Priest as well. He's a priest that's named Priest.
That's funny.
Oh, man. Yeah, I was not a fan.
Like, Peter David wrote this book too, right?
Yeah.
And he's been doing a good job at all this like classic stuff. That kind of sucks.
Yeah.
It didn't pick up at all by the time you got to the end of it?
No, nothing happened. Nothing happened.
Yeah, it's just they all decided they wanted to go to Vegas, and then it's true. It was
just Ghost Rider. He's in.
Yeah, Ghost Rider.
Some demon guy.
Yeah, so they're fighting some demon guy, and then they just like go back, and they're like, "Why are you here?" I don't know.
I don't know. Why are you here?
I don't know. Yeah. Who knows?
Let me ask you. I didn't get a chance to read X-Men yet, and I know Kat. Have you been reading X-Men still or no?
I might drop Marauders at this point. That's where I'm at with the X-Men.
X-Men. It was like the end of this era of X-Men, because they were all like, Hellfire Gala vote's coming up. I'm not going to be on the team anymore. I'm not going to be on the team anymore. I might if they vote me in, but I don't know. I don't like my chances. That's what that issue was.
So it's leading into the gala. Then.
It's leading into the gala. It was. I mean, they were battling what's his name, Sinister, but Stasis, Dr. Stasis still. But yeah, that's like how it ended. It was like leading into the gala.
Yeah. So Kat, you dislike Marauders that much right now? That
I really don't like it.
So this writer is worse than Duggan, right?
Yeah. I think it's just not for me, because it's very space. It's very much about the action of space and not really seeing the characters interact and seeing about
they're still in space.
They're still
doing the same stuff.
Still dealing with the Sheer.
Same.
Yeah, stuff, the same. It's nothing has changed. So from the first issue, it's the same exact stuff happening. So I'm like, I love Kitty, but Kitty's not even really doing much. So I'm like, I might drop it.
Yeah,
I'm definitely
it's
gonna
more-
read it digitally, but I don't know if I even want to read it.
It's more like it's Cassandra Nova's book than anything.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
It's
and I
still
don't care
highlighting
about
her.
the character. So yeah, and that's the last X-Men book I even have. So I'm gonna probably pick up like the Gala. Like I'll pick up that just for fun. But yeah, I'm not
I'm
really
picking
liking any of
that
the
up,
X-Men
too.
books.
X-Men
Yeah.
is the only book I'm reading right now. Period.
I'm still reading Immortal as well, which I thought was a little better. It was all about Destiny.
Are you reading Red or no?
What is Red
X-Men
about?
Red?
That Storm is the leader of that one.
Oh, I have read. I haven't dropped it yet. Doesn't that come out tomorrow?
Not yet.
Maybe, I don't remember.
Oh God, yeah. So I was just curious on those couple of books. Those are the few that I didn't read, so it doesn't sound too promising, you know.
Nah, you didn't miss anything, so you're good.
Gotcha.
Which just sucks, you know. Like I wanna love the X-Men. I wanna love Marvel Pride, and I think it's a shame that like that wasn't really great. And I think I was saying before, like what I liked about the DC Pride book a lot more is that these are characters that are like in their own series, and they're like this is something that you could like pick up and like see. And I just thought Marvel's just didn't have as much care as DC did, which I hate saying.
Yeah.
I think Marvel has some great queer characters.
Yeah, and again, it goes back to the voices stuff when they did the one with the Asian heritage characters. It's like they had thrown all of them into that one book, Agents of Atlas or whatever it was.
Yeah.
And then after that, they just all disappeared,
Yeah.
except for the one that became the new Iron Fist.
And that's a shame because, like, we, going back to like representation, like you want to see representation, you want to see
Absolutely.
these characters do something, and
Yeah.
that goes back to the headline stuff. It's like, oh, you just made that book for a headline, just to appear that one book, and then not do anything with them.
Right.
I think it's a shame. Other than that, that's all I read. So, I also think I'm not getting a ton of books tomorrow. Are you guys getting a lot?
Not as many. I think I have that sweet spot that we were talking about. I think I have 12 or 13.
Oh, that's perfect. I think I have about 8 again.
I think I'm more around like the 15-ish mark if I get everything. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna check real quick and see. Let me go on.
There's like 2 or 3 books that I'm like, I don't know if I'm actually gonna get them or not. So
yeah, that's
I got
always
some indies.
the ones where you're like, maybe not. You know,
It's like, do I want to read this anymore? That's Marauders now. When it comes out, I'm like, do I want to pick this up? I don't know.
Yeah, it's like X-Men Red does come
it.
out tomorrow now. So it's like, that's one.
Yeah, I'd be like, do I pick it up or not?
Right. And I agree with you on Marauders. 14.
It's a shame.
Yeah. I'll read them off real quick. Batman Beyond the White Knight, Berserker, DC vs. Vampires, Deathstroke Incorporated. Want to see where that goes. Detective Comics, 8 Billion Genies, Iron Cat, Life Zero, Public Domain, Robin, The Scorched, She-Hulk, The Variants. I don't even remember what that was.
That's
a Marvel
the
book.
Jessica Jones.
Oh, okay, that's right.
Yeah.
And then Venom, Lethal Protector. So those are the 14.
I'm actually shocked no one picked Variants as their most anticipated.
You know why? Because it's like my first thought process is Edge of Spider-Verse versus Spider-Gwen. It's the same concept, like different versions of this character. And I'm only picking up because it's Jessica Jones, and I want to see what it's about. But
Gail Simone, though, I'm interested to see her. Like we haven't seen Gail Simone write something in a while.
It's true, yeah, but it's just like it's not a new idea, you know.
No, it's not.
Maybe you can do something different.
Yeah.
And that's what makes me want to check it out. That's why I'm giving it a check it out, because it is Gail Simone. But it's just like, all right, what are we going to do different that hasn't been done yet so far?
Yeah.
Right. We got Miles Morales seeing multiple versions of himself. Spider-Man saw multiple versions of himself. Spider-Gwen saw multiple versions of, herself.
Deadpool.
Yeah.
Deadpool.
Yeah. It's been done to death.
Yeah.
So I don't know. We'll see.
It's funny, of all those 14 that you named, like 7 of them I'm not getting. So I'm getting like 14 or 15 with completely different books.
Yeah, that's hilarious.
Yeah.
It'll be an interesting week.
Interesting week. Yeah, next week for sure.
Hopefully we have news.
Yeah. All right. Well, I guess then we'll close out the show. like we said before, guys, just back up the Kickstarters, of course.
Yes.
If you guys want to say it one more time so they know, go for it.
You go
Go
first,
ahead,
Brant.
Oh, you want me to go?
Oh.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, CuriouserComic.com will take you there. It's a Back to Wonderland story. Alice, the son, Alec, gets pulled into Wonderland to fight a brewing civil war. So go check it out. And we got one more week to go. And also just one more plug that Lisa and I are starting our new Last Ember Press podcast this week. I think we're going to try to post it on Thursday. So I'll be on the lookout for that. We're tentatively calling it Beyond the Fire. So we'll see. We're going to talk about live stuff, LEP stuff, TV stuff, all kinds of fun stuff. So check that out.
Very cool. Yes, I have Still Bi going on. It's a book about bisexuality, but not just that. It's all different genres. Just fun. If you like a lot of different genres, I think you'll enjoy it. You got sci-fi, reality television, vampires, superheroes. It's a really cool book, so I'm proud of it. So go check it out. This weekend I'll also be at EternalCon in Long Island. So if you are in the area, go say hi. I'll be on a panel as well. I don't even know what it's about. I don't remember, but I'm on a panel. You'll see my name somewhere. I think it's on Saturday. And I did Pride last week. That was really good for us. That was exciting. That's it. That's it for me. Go check out my comic book reviews tomorrow.
Awesome, guys. Yeah, and then you guys can check out my comic book haul tomorrow as well. I'm trying to bust my butt, trying to still get content on the channel while doing everything else right now. I've been doing it. It's been a little bit off schedule or a little bit late, but I'm trying to get it done to keep things rolling here. And I tried really hard to get on the show tonight. So I was happy to be on here, and I plan on being on here next week as well. Unless I am just totally wiped out. I'm like drinking gallons of water to stay hydrated right now. But we appreciate you guys being on the show tonight, watching the show. Happy we could all be here. And of course, we'll do it again next week, guys. So until next time, this is myself, Mike Spider Slayer, Comic Book Corner 2.0, Brant Fowler, Comic Uno, signing off. Remember, subscribe, hit the bell, give it a thumbs up, follow us on all the socials, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, Instagram, not Twitch. That's it.
Yeah, don't follow us on Twitch. You won't find us there.
You won't find anything there. Guys, good night. Thank you so much for watching. Have a great new comic book day.